the time. Your gateway to the world. AFR. American Freedom Radio. Give it to them.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and happy Wednesday. It is October 16, 2013, and boy, oh boy, we are already having way too much in the text chat. I wish you guys could time your jokes a little bit better. Okay. All right. Compose. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us here tonight, Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. This is the third Wednesday of the month, so our regular listeners know we are joined by Sidney Ross Singer and his beautiful wife, Soma Grismaijer, who joined us in the last show, and it was so awesome to hear, both perspectives and how you all came together. So, woohoo, thanks for sharing that, and I'm so glad that Soma is back here with us tonight. Big topic. We're going to be talking about are your sleep habits killing you? The most easily preventable talk about sleep positions and maybe even things that we might be wearing. The breast cancer thing, think pink or puke pink, whatever it is. We got to dispel some myths there as well. And an easy solution for migraines. Sidney is a medical anthropologist and the author of several groundbreaking books you can find at his website having to do with health, like Dress to Kill. You've heard us talk about here multiple times. Get it up, get it off, get it out, and the doctor is out. Get it up, we're going to be talking about tonight, is revealing some of the simple, surprising lifestyles that cause migraines, Alzheimer's, glaucoma, sleep apnea, stroke, impotence, and much, much more. The website is killerculture.com, and they are the director of the Institute for the Study of Culturogenic Disease, located in Hawaii. And again, website is killerculture.com. If you have any questions tonight, please feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. And if you want to join our cute little jokester soul family in the text chat, by the way, happy birthday, everyone. Casey, Noelle, Louie, Sylvia, Lambie Poo, Anna, and all the Ruster, and woohoo! We are having a big birthday party there tonight. That's at souljourneysradio.com, and it is so good to have you both here tonight. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great. It's good to be with you again, Christie.
Yay!
And hi. I'm happy to be back.
You're not on there yet. Okay. Okay.
Yes. Hi, Christie.
Hello. It's so good to have you back here tonight.
Good to be back.
Ooh, how is the weather in Hawaii, by the way? It's feeling a little cold here. I'm kind of dreaming of hanging out with you guys down there.
Well, any time. It's beautiful here as usual. Always in Hawaii, it's beautiful.
Of course, yes. Paradise. All right. So we have a big topic. Last time, I guess you guys had to duck out a little bit early when we were talking about, culture and some of the lifestyle, myths and some of the things that we women go through. I got a lot of feedback on that show, Soma. I think it was really wonderful for you to be able to express your experiences and, give us all a little bit of hope that there is freedom. So, Sidney, of course, you've been kind of getting your butt kicked a little bit. In the blogs and articles. However, the way I look at it is, they're bringing your name up and bringing your book up. So how is that working out for you? Is that kind of helping bring attention to, the issue at hand with the Thinking Pink?
Well, it's interesting. The kind of new articles that come out are either two types. There's either industry-created ones that are done by either the lingerie industry or the cancer industry that then have it's like a source article that goes around the internet, taken up by a lot of sources, but it's one fundamental origin of an article. And then there are individuals doing their own blogs on their own experiences. And more and more people are getting the message. And they've been taking off their bras. They're hearing what we need to say, what you've been saying on Free the Boobies. I feel like we're really seeing a transformation. That wouldn't have happened 10 years ago, Free the Boobies. Not only because Facebook wasn't there, because it's our Facebook group, but the Free the Boobies group on Facebook that you started, I think, is showing that women are really ready for bra freedom, that they weren't ready for it 10 years ago. Would you say? Would you say so?
I totally agree with that, but again, the only reason I'm able to reach out to other people is because of you and your work, you and Soma both. So again, thank you very much. Bra freedom is just something that, for me, can't really be explained in words. It's one of those things that has to be experienced. It's not only better for your physical health, for your mental health. Everything has changed in my life since I became bra-free. So.
Okay, well,
somebody's having a hard time hearing. Are you having a hard time hearing me?
I hear you, but I feel like you're not talking into the mic or something. It seems like you're distant there.
Darn, it's literally like right next to my mouth. Let me just check my settings real quick.
That's not. Yeah, well, maybe try your settings, but it just sounds a little tinny and distant. So.
All right. Well, I will play with that and see what happens. And
well, let me tell you what's going on though. In the meantime, what has happened is there's this article that I got changed last year, but they haven't really changed it enough, and it's in the magazine called Health.com, and it's Health Magazine, and they are owned by Time, Life, Warner, the big guys, and it's interesting. They have this 25 breast cancer myths article, slideshow, and one of them is that wearing a bra is connected to breast cancer is a myth. And then the answer they gave last time was a complete lie, saying that studies have shown that it's wrong, when actually the only studies that have shown that it's correct. And there are 5 studies now. Nothing refutes it. And when I contacted because this Health.com article is picked up by ABC and by CNN, and they all use the same article, and it's like going around the world, and it's got this misinformation. Well, they changed it last year. They took away the total lies, and instead they're using a softer lie, saying that the bra cancer link has been debunked as unscientific. Those are their words. And then they say consensus is that there is no link between your bra and cancer or any other underwear and cancer, for that matter. And that's how they deal with it. Now, these are really weak terms like debunked. I mean, by whom and where and on what basis, right? It's not. But then they can find the American Cancer Society and the Susan G. Komen Foundation both saying that the bra and breast cancer link makes no sense to them at all, and they don't think it deserves any research. It should be completely ignored. They don't want to look at it. So you have like an industry protectionism that they're hiding this information. They don't want to see it. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to deal with it. If they keep their head in the sand, they hope that women will keep their heads in the sand too, and nobody will, notice the man behind the curtain that's manipulating everything. And so I've been very frustrated, but they did change it last year. I tried getting them to change it again this year. And it's interesting. One of the networks, NBC, had another 25 myths. It wasn't, I don't think, the exact Health.com, but it was a clone. And I told them about this at a local station, like in Denver, I think it was. And then they contacted National, found out who put it out there, and they completely changed it on a national level. They took out the bra cancer link as a myth. They just took it out. And they just used a different thing that they wanted to call a myth. So they actually heard what I said and changed their slideshow nationally. Then there's other, like ABC, they refuse to deal with it. And then I spoke again with the health.com editors, and they just won't. I tell them my information, I send them this, I talk to them, and they just don't want to deal with it. It's a paid, they told me it's paid placement. So somebody writes these articles for like a magazine like that and pays to get them in there because this is really an infomercial promoting the cancer industry's interests. And
I want to know what studies, I mean, how come they never link to these studies that prove that allegedly what they're saying is wrong?
They don't have any studies. They're not even saying there are studies anymore. They're just saying, oh, it's just ridiculous, and if you ask anybody, they'll say it's ridiculous. And that's how they're dealing with it, like it's not worthy of consideration. And yet they'll look at everything else if they get, they'll look at hair straightener and whether you live near electric wires and its relation to breast cancer and whether you're right-handed or left-handed, whether, they'll antiperspirants, when that started spreading around the internet, they actually did a study on it. But the bra issue, they say they refuse to do a study. And between you and me and everybody who's listening, I'm sure they did a little study. And their results aren't what they want them to be, so they're just saying that it's not worth looking at. Actually, there was sort of an interesting sort of study that was done, but it wasn't really a study. It was done by a guy at the American Cancer Society, Ted Gansler. And he is like one of their speakers and deals with, I'm not sure what he deals with, but they did some number crunching on melanomas. And women who had melanomas, which is a type of skin cancer, and who had their armpit lymph nodes removed to treat the cancer as part of the treatment. And they went into the records of these people, and they figured, okay, if Sid Singer is saying that the reason bras are causing breast cancer is because they're constricting the breasts and blocking the drainage to the lymph nodes in the armpit mostly, then we would imagine if women didn't have armpit lymph nodes because they were taken out, that this drainage would be a problem. They'd get lymphedema, and they would end up getting more cases of cancer, breast cancer. So they said, so let's look at some numbers. And they did. They got some National Cancer Industry Registry numbers, and they found that there were increased cancers. Skin cancers were much, much higher in this group than you would have expected. That was actually supportive of the whole mechanism. But their breast cancer numbers, they said it didn't show any increase. Then they also say that they didn't have enough cases to actually make it statistically significant in the breast cancer one. But they still wanted to conclude. In other words, they could not come up to a scientifically valid, statistically valid conclusion because there weren't enough women in their data sample to look at bra-free versus, and they just didn't have enough for breast cancer.
Yeah, okay. Well,
so
it sounds good to me. Nothing to look at here. Move along. I mean, here's a really easy way to find out for yourself is try it for a week or two or a month even. Do your own study.
Well, that's right. And but that this brings me to another real peeve that I have right now, which is that these same, what the myths that they put out there, they're saying that the myth is that breast cancer is preventable. That is a myth, that you cannot prevent breast cancer. And
it wasn't a prevention magazine?
Yeah, they're one of them. Prevention was taken over by the chemical industry years ago. I mean, they used to be about everything but drugs. And then they got taken over. Now they have drug ads. They're sold at the checkout aisles with, all the other stuff. And it's all mainstream, completely taken over. And they say prevention says you can't prevent breast cancer. And then there's these other ones, too, that are saying you can't. And then they were admitting it's lifestyle related, but they're saying we just don't know enough about what's causing it because they're ignoring the bra. So they say 70% of the cases they cannot explain. They've looked at everything except the bra, and they can't explain. I mean, they should be able to figure it out by the process of elimination. They looked at everything else. So this must be it, But anyway, they have the audacity, after saying that they're stupid about knowing the cause, to then tell women that they can't prevent it. That's you don't know you can't prevent it if you don't know the cause. All they should just say is, don't listen to us because we don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, that's what they should say.
Absolutely. I totally agree. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if what they were doing or saying was working, why are cancer incident rates rising? I mean, pretty good indicator there, but again, true knowing is through personal experience.
Yes, and I think once women try bra freedom and see what it feels like, it just completely changes their lives, and it makes their breasts, helps their breasts recover from years and years of constriction. And I think that's what people need to really understand is we're talking, and we're going to talk again today about another process that's a slow process. These are slow, progressive deterioration processes because, you know, we do these things every day, and like wearing a bra, or when we talk later about sleep position, we do these things every day. And the damage it causes, we might not feel immediately, although we might feel discomfort, but we don't necessarily feel pain and all the real injury that's going to be caused in the long run. And that's what happens over time. As you get older, this stuff catches up to you. And, you know, the compression over the years, you know, starting with a bra at 10 years old and then keeping a band around your chest for the rest of your life, every day for 12 hours or more daily, and some women never take it off, or they wear it like the 18-hour bra. And that's
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifilan brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifilan. There's nothing else like Modifilan. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifilan banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
No rules. No rules. No taboo topics. No taboo topics. No fear of doom. No fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here tonight with Soma Grismaijer and Sydney Ross Singer. KillerCulture.com is the website, and I don't know if you heard us during the break. We were talking about all the lovely fresh fruits they're able to harvest in their yard right now. I'm so jealous, Soma. Coconuts and starfruit and fruits I've actually never even heard of. So, I gotta move to Hawaii.
You're welcome. You're welcome to visit anytime. We have a beautiful little guest house, and it's available.
I cannot wait. All right, so we're kind of talking about just the absurdity of the bra issue or the breast cancer issue, and of course, mainstream is completely ignoring the bra aspect, irregardless of studies that have been done that have proven that women who wear bras 24/7, or over 125 times the incidence of breast cancer than bra-free women. And, again, I suggested that, it's not just the physical aspects, at least for me. It's emotionally, it's mentally, it's spiritually. I mean, just think about it. If you're wearing a freaking corset, or just, tie a string around your waist or any part of your body and leave it there for 25 years, okay? It's not going to feel good, and it is going to block the flow, not just of your lymph system, but also spiritually, emotionally, energetically. So, Soma, you shared with us last time you were here a bit about your experiences and why you chose bra-free living. So, if you would, I'd love for you to give us a little update about your experiences, why you chose this lifestyle, and if you would ever consider any other way.
All right. Well, I had been wearing a bra, of course, since puberty. I was probably 12 when I got my first training bra. I don't know why they call it a training bra other than you're being trained to deal with the discomfort. I don't know why they call it a training bra. But I never thought much about it. It was just something that everyone did, and so I did it too. Well, 30 years later, after wearing a bra every day of my life, 30 years later, I discovered a scary lump in my breast. And that's what got us started doing the research into breast cancer. Our way of doing things is not just to follow what we're told and, don't ask questions. We immediately question why. Why would this happen? What caused the lump? And what can we do about it? I was not ready to get a mammogram or to do any chemo or any of that. So we dove into it, started doing research, and the first thing we thought was, wow, when you take off the bra and notice all those red marks and indentations in your skin, that's a sign of constriction. Could constriction be causing this? Well, the first thing to test was take it off and see what happens. So I got rid of my bra, and that was over 22 years ago now. I haven't worn one since, but my lump did go away within a couple months, and we started doing our big study where we interviewed about 5,000 women on their bra-wearing habits. And I, of course, getting back to my story, when I first got rid of my bra, I did it, of course, because I needed to. I felt distressed over the lump, and let's see if this will help. But after wearing one for 30 years every day, it felt a little strange and uncomfortable at first. I think a lot of women might say that. It wasn't an immediate relief, an immediate like, wow, this is great. It was like, whoa, this is weird. So yeah. It took me a while, I must admit, to get used to it. Mostly, not so much physically discomfort, but emotionally and psychologically, like you were saying. I just felt, oh, my God, people are going to notice. My breasts aren't up as high as they should be. Oh, my goodness, my nipples are showing, whatever. I was just a little nervous about all of that going out in public without a bra. Yeah. But I soon realized that not only did no one notice, but if they did notice, they didn't care. And after a few days, especially a few weeks, it started feeling so much better. I realized that the bra had been limiting my breathing, my movement, my flow of energy. I mean, it was just a radical change. But it took me a while to get to that point of feeling that, because anything that you're used to and it's habitual will feel strange when you stop. So be prepared for that. But once you get through that discomfort, mostly emotional and psychological, you will be so glad you did get rid of that bra. In the beginning, when I took my bra off and I wanted to jog or do any exercise, it felt a little uncomfortable with my breasts bouncing, so I would hold them in place, But now I can bounce and run, and it feels absolutely wonderful. So your body adapts and gets used to things. And then about 2 or 3 months later, I felt the need to put on a bra for a social event. I had a dress that just didn't quite fit right because my breasts weren't up as high as they should be. Mm-hmm. So I tried a bra on again, and I couldn't wear it. There's no way. Once you take it off and try to put it back on, you feel how tight it is. Suddenly you realize, and there's no way I could put it back on, so I just wore something else. And I haven't worn it. I haven't worn one since.
Same thing last year, Soma.
Did you?
It was like this golf, type thing. You're supposed to get all dressed up. And
right.
I'm looking in my closet, the little black dresses, right? And thinking, oh, man, the only way I could wear this is with a bra. And it's like, okay, Christy, come on, you can fit in for just a couple hours. And you know what? I couldn't. I felt the exact same thing that you just expressed, so I ended up just changing my clothes. And I can't do it either. Oh, goodness.
Yep. I think I want to just encourage every woman listening to this to just do it. Just do it. You'll be so happy you did, and we are 100% convinced that this is the leading cause of breast cancer. If you have any fear, any family history, any issues about breast cancer, this is the way to prevent it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I'm glad you brought up, the initial fear or just, like, oh my gosh, this is weird. Everybody's looking at me. What if they can see my nipples? Or, oh my gosh, I have this skin touching this other skin here. And, all of those little things. But the social aspects of it, I mean, I don't know. I just have to say, if anybody's noticed that I'm bra-free, nobody's had the balls to actually point and say something. And, from my experience, I'm just thinking that maybe they're too busy worrying about what everybody thinks of them that they don't even really notice what's going on with us. So, yeah.
That's exactly right. Women in this culture have taught to be very, very self-conscious. We are so worried about our looks and looking proper and stylish and beautiful and so yeah, you're right. I think we're so worried about how we look that we really don't notice how others look and don't really care.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And, around here, I must admit, and Christie, this is why you would fit in so well, this area of Hawaii, it's the Puna district, I would say over 50% of the women here are bra-free. It's just a way of life. There's a lot of old hippies here. There's a lot of alternative people here, and a lot of people who have heard our message and agree with it and have chucked their bras. So it's very comfortable to go out in public here, bra-free. No problem. Everybody's doing it.
Excellent. It's just, and you know what, when I first started, because people always say, well, what about when you exercise? And, aren't they supposed to be taped to your chest with electrical tape or something? And, I don't have a problem with it at all. Of course, I'm not like a workout monster. I'm not a gym rat. I like a little walking, a little yoga, light exercise here and there. And I do have a rebounder. And maybe the first couple times on the rebounder, it did feel a little bit weird. It's like, okay, boing, boing, boing. I kept thinking of, girls on trampolines, but trampolines, right? But I would just say, after those initial fears wear off the first couple days or maybe even a week or two, it's just the tremendous turnaround in my life on so many levels. I just can't even believe I went through that pain for, 26 years or something?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, crazy. Crazy what we do to our bodies. And in the name of beauty...
That's true. Very, very crazy things. The culture teaches us to do it. If it sells something, if it's, makes someone some money, they'll sell it to us and we'll buy it. We just, should start questioning things like this.
The crazy thing, though, when it comes to beauty, it's, we spend all this time buying all of these things that are going to make us look good. But when I look back at my old pictures, like in my modeling days or whatever, you could see it in my eyes. I am not comfortable. I hate myself. It's totally resonating through the core of my being. And now that, okay, so I have saggy boobs, whatever. So I'm not wearing a sling. So I'm not wearing the makeup and the hair. And, I'm proud of my grays and all of these things that we're supposed to be afraid of. I get more compliments on my beauty now than ever in my life. So I think it's just one of those things, you can see it. When a woman is comfortable and confident and, just feels good, that's when you look good.
That's right. That's exactly right. Beauty is from within, and it shines on the outside. And natural beauty is really where it's at. Absolutely.
Totally agree. And what do you think about that, Sydney?
I was going to say a very similar thing. I think if a woman is playing the game and trying to look the part, or a man, and you're going to be judged pretty much for how well you look the part. But if you don't play the game, then people just see you, and then they're going to look at you as a person more. So I think people hide behind all of this. It's, a lot of young people when they're growing up and they're in their teens and they're wanting to know what are you supposed to look like and act like, and they're very imitative. We're like monkeys, and we just copy what we see, and we try on different types of people and different movie stars that we've seen or whatever, try to look the part. And, they end up hiding behind these characters and not really expressing who they are. A lot of people are really shy, and they just feel very insecure. So I think all of these cultural models have a place. That's why people are doing it. They get something out of playing these games, even though it hurts. I mean, that really is a logical question to ask. If it hurts so much, if all of these tight shoes and tight bras and tight pants and just uptight everything hurts so bad, why do we do it? Why doesn't everybody just automatically rebel? And that's really goes back to human nature, and that's why we're in this mess we're in. People aren't necessarily rational about what they do with their lives. They're more interested in conforming and being part of the group than being, an independent soul living true to their own, thoughts and beliefs. It's very hard for people to be individualists, and although some find it very easy. But I think that's the issue on top of this, is there's a human need to conform. And we just need to have styles. So I don't think we can get rid of styles necessarily. I think wanting to look stylish, however that's defined, is something that people want. And if it's against their health, they'll just go as far as they can go. And some are going to go beyond their comfort zone to where they get disease, and some will just say, the heck with this, and I'll do something else because this hurts. But the cultures will play their games, whether it's corsets that you have to wear, like they did for centuries, or tight shoes, like the Chinese foot binding that women had to wear for 1,000 years, or the wigs that people wore. I mean, you wouldn't be able to go outside or be seen in public without your wig. Mm-hmm. And then what about the hats? I mean, into the 1960s, people were wearing hats all the time. I mean, all of these things that people felt were essential, that they then use as a status symbol to try to compare one another and who has the more expensive hat or the more expensive corset or, more stylish, whatever. I mean, it could be as primitive as you like, or they're all kind of body alteration things. And it's just a human nature problem. That's what we study as medical anthropologists. How the culture makes us sick. And it does so because we let it. And you don't have to, though. That's the good news is you don't have to. I mean, it's like trying to tell people, be free. I mean, it's like, but if you go to a caged bird that's very comfortable in its cage, and you open the door thinking, I have to liberate this bird. It's in this cage all of its life. It must be longing for freedom. And you open the cage door, and you know what it does? It goes into the corner of the cage and is really frightened because it's very comfortable in its cage. And I think humans are very much like that. What do you think?
You hit the nail on the head, Sydney. We were playing roles.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Yo, what's up? Check this out. The voice of the revolution. American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Thanks for joining us here tonight, Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Our special guests tonight, Sydney Ross Singer and Soma Grismaijer of the Institute for the Study of Culturogenic Disease, located in Hawaii. And by the way, they have lots of self-studies going on, including the bra-free issue. So just send them an email, check out the website, killerculture.com, and again, experience is what's really going to tell you, does this work, does it not? I did a little experiment in the chat room here right before during the break, and I posted a photo of myself when I was supposed to be this, glamorous model or whatever, wearing the bras and the tight clothes, and, everybody else saw it too. It wasn't just me. They're like, wow, you look so much younger today and happier and free, and I don't know.
Christie?
People can see it.
Do you hear what's going on?
I don't. What's going on?
I'm hearing you say what you're saying twice. It's looping, like it's repeating what you said. Right now you're talking over me at the same time, Sydney, what you just said.
Sydney, you might be hearing a feed from the webpage you visited.
Yeah, if you're on the text chat, then you'll right above the text.
That's what it was. That's what it was. I beg your pardon.
You got the player?
We're good now.
Okay.
You're right. I was on your chat line, and I was hearing everything you were saying with a few second delay, and it was going both at the same time. Now I understand it was my mistake.
So, you know what? I always hear that way anyways. It can get a little confusing, so woohoo! All right, so we're back. And, we have a lot to talk about tonight, not only the bra-free or the bra cancer issue, also some of the most easily preventable diseases, easy solutions for migraines, and your book, Get It Up. So before we move on, do either of you have anything else you would like to share on this issue?
Well, I'm pretty good. I think we've covered the bra and breast cancer issue a lot, and I think each year more and more women are hearing about it because of grassroots efforts like what you're doing, and I really think that that's just awesome. It's the only way this thing is going to break through the suppression and censorship that is happening by mainstream media and the cancer detection and treatment industry and the lingerie industry. So that's all I have to say. Just try it, and you'll see. Let your body be your guide.
Absolutely. And I just want to let you know we do have a Free the Boobies Facebook group where you can talk with other women free and the men that support them and the reasons why. After all, sometimes we get that question, why are men allowed in here? And excuse me, do you know any man that is not born of a woman or doesn't have a woman in their lives? And of course, you wrote a really good article. I can't remember the exact name of it, but how men to the rescue, something like that.
Yes. Men are integral because a lot of women wear bras for men, and they want to please the men in their lives, and men need to give women the space they need to be healthy and free, and encourage and support them in that. Absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to post that, and maybe I should just say this here before we get any more of those. Oh, why are men allowed? And this and that. I mean, this should not be a secret issue. It needs to get out there, and, obviously don't share anything that's going to make you feel uncomfortable. But, we are there to support you. It's a very supportive and loving group, and, you can find out information, whether it's the scientific studies or research that Sydney and Soma have done over the decades, or if it's personal experiences. And, I know a lot of women, they'll send me personal messages and, say they don't really want to put it out there because they're not ready for their family members or coworkers or whatever to find out, especially on Facebook. But, here's the thing. If you're feeling that good and it's helped you, that much, don't you want other people in your life to also have the opportunity to, feel better in their lives too? Don't keep it a secret. Share it. And the more the merrier. So whether you're posting in the Free the Boobies Facebook group or on your own page or on your own website or your own YouTube, get it out there because, chances are more people will find it and it'll save them of the pain that Soma and I and probably 95% of you have gone through in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, again, if you want more information about that, you can go to killerculture.com. Excellent articles there. Tons of information. Share it with your family. And really, ultimately, who cares what they think? We all have our own path. If they want to wear bras, if they want to, be all uptight and constricted, it's okay. We don't need to force it on anybody, but I do believe creating awareness is key. I mean, that's all it took for me. Just, wow, like the first time I came across your book, it just made so much sense that I had to try it despite the possible ostracization of society.
Which never really happened, right? I mean,
no,
of course not. I know. We make our own cages. That's the further irony of the whole thing. Not only can we be free, but we design our own cage, and we don't have to. And it all goes. I think the general trend issue here that we're talking about is being sensitive to your body. And I want to segue into the sleep position because that was another discovery that we made that it's mind-blowing when you really get understanding of what is going on and how simple this is and how profound. We've discovered what we believe is one of the causes, a major cause, and a contributor to make things worse of all sorts of diseases that are related to the brain. We're talking about things like migraines and sleep apnea and Alzheimer's and strokes and other parts of the head like glaucoma and sinus congestion and tooth issues, and everything that affects your head is really very much impacted by the way you sleep. And so I wanted to try to segue into that for the next hour because we're going to tell you some things that you can try tonight, and you'll be a different person tomorrow. I mean, it's that fast.
I totally agree with that. You shared with us, I don't know, last year at some point, just one simple change that we could make, which I did on my bed, has helped a lot. And I've talked with other people some things to their beds, and we didn't really get all the way into the issue like you discuss in your article, Heads Up, the way you were sleeping. You were, of course, more in-depth in your book called Get It Up, which you can find at killerculture.com. But I was really, really surprised to hear that all these simple changes, or, these simple lifestyle things that we just accept, I'm tired, let's go to bed, right? We don't really think about it, put on your nightie or put on your head cap or whatever it is we do to ourselves. So I want to thank you again for also bringing these issues to the forefront. I do know many that suffer from, in fact, myself, I had strokes and things like that. I have friends that suffer from migraines and sleep apnea and, even impotence. So let's talk about that, how our issue or how sleeping issues can be contributing negatively to our health.
Well, when you think about it, we spend a third of our lives approximately, like 8 hours a day, sleeping. So it's a very big part of your life. But because it's sleeping, we don't really think about it that much. I mean, it's not something you reflect about. It's something you sort of suspend thinking, doing, you don't. So people really just, and also when you get into bed, your habits have been set from childhood. So the way you sleep is a very comforting thing. That's why a lot of people like the fetal position on their side. And it's like after a day in the jungle struggling with everybody. It's nice to just go into bed and put the covers over you, and it's like getting back in the womb, and it's a way to let go of all that stress if you can do that. So it's a real a time of, first of all, our habits are set up really early in life, and they're hard to change. And we associate that time in our lives with something that we don't think about very much. We're trying to not think. And what I'm going to tell you, which I'll probably wait until after the top of the hour because we'll probably have a commercial coming up, and I don't want to...
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
No rules, no rules. No taboo topics, no taboo topics. No fear of doom, no fear of doom. We are American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Right, welcome back. Top of the second hour here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com with our special guests, Sydney Ross Singer and Soma Grismaijer. And we're going to get into our sleeping habits and could they be adversely affecting your health? If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to give us a call at 218-339-8525. That's 218-339-8525. And if you would like to join us on the text chat, that's over at souljourneysradio.com. And while try as I might to get all of the comments in there, I do miss a few. So if you are posting your questions in the text chat, if you could put them in all caps, they can kind of stand out, and I'll make sure to ask our guests your question. Again, their website is killerculture.com, and they co-wrote Get It Up Together, which is about what we're talking about this hour, revealing the simple, surprising lifestyle that causes migraines, Alzheimer's, glaucoma, sleep apnea, stroke, impotence, and more. That's at killerculture.com, and seriously, the best $10.95 you have ever spent. So, Sydney, Soma, I'm totally blown away. The first time I ever heard soft, flat, warm, cozy bed could actually be affecting my health negatively. So, where did you come across this information, which led to your book?
Well, it was actually from a personal experience that I had. I experienced something that a lot of people do, where in the middle of the night I had to get up, go to the bathroom, and I just got up too quickly right after awakening. I was dreaming, and then I woke up, had a full bladder, so I just popped up, went to the bathroom. And suddenly getting up like that caused me to get a little lightheaded. And, you can almost faint type feeling. And then your heart starts pounding, and then you feel okay. And what it is called, it's a medical condition called, it's not a condition, it's actually just a situation called orthostatic hypotension. And that means low pressure upon standing up. And, it just basically describes what I just said. And the reason you get that is when you're lying down, the blood pressure has to go down, or you end up getting too much pressure in your head and you can have a stroke. Because, everyone knows when you put your head down, your head turns red, and it goes with blood, and it gets more pressure. It feels more pressurized. Well, your brain doesn't want to blow a blood vessel, which is one way of getting a stroke. What it does is you have in your carotid arteries in your neck these pressure receptors that give feedback to the heart, and when they get too expanded from the pressure, the heart lowers its beating rate and the pressure of the beat. So the blood pressure goes down, and you spend the night with a lower pressure. And then when you get up, suddenly your head is raised above your heart, and the blood with gravity starts to come right out of your head. And the heart, which has low pressure because you were lying down, doesn't have enough to push up all the way to the head against gravity effectively. So what happens is you get dizzy and you almost feel like you got to fall to get your head more pressure until your heart pounds the pressure up and catches up with the need for more pressure, and then you're okay. So the issue when I just felt dizzy, it just occurred to me what I just explained, that, wow, it's true, your blood pressure when you're lying down is a lot different than when you're standing up.
Yeah.
And I began to think about, the relationship. And we're very strange animals in that we are vertical on two legs when we're walking around, standing vertical. And then we sleep horizontal. So a lot of other animals, I guess, are similar. Their heads are sort of up, but we're like really vertical. Monkeys tend to be a little more forward on an angle. But in any event, because we have like 8 hours of our day is horizontal and about the rest of the time, 16 hours, we're vertical, there's a different relationship between that's created because of gravity. See, when you're standing up, the head is above your heart, and as the heart pumps, the pressure of the heart to lift the blood up to your head is resisted by gravity. And when it goes into your brain, the blood goes through these capillaries that allow the oozing of fluid out into the brain, because there's a blood-brain barrier there, and that creates cerebral spinal fluid that courses through your brain, and it's the circulatory fluid of your brain, and then that goes back into another venous plexus where it gets into the veins, and then it goes out of your head, down your neck, and back into your heart. So the brain is like a really big resistor to pressure. Because it's like a big resistor. And when you have your head above your heart, you have to push the blood with your heart up to the head through this resistor, and then blood is pulled down with gravity back to the heart. And when you lie down, suddenly the head and the heart are on the same level, and that's really zero gravity between them. So now the pump of the head of the heart is pushing blood right into the head without any of the resistance of gravity, which is a very significant force. So if you're getting this pressure going into your head, and you don't have gravity helping pull the blood down. So what ends up happening is you have to lower the pressure, or you're going to have too much pressure, and that's why the pressure goes down when you lie down, because gravity is no longer there to resist and assist in the flow. So what's happening is people are lying down each night, some people I should say, too flat. Their heads are too low. And the way you would, other primitive cultures and some other animals like orangutans, the way they sleep is in a hammock, where you have the head up and the feet up, because you need to have a little bit of head circulation. Now, it just so happens they know about this in medicine. It's called, in a field of medicine called space medicine, they actually study zero gravity effects. And I found that out because, we had this, the reason we came up with this theory is, we view the body as intelligent and trying to come up with defense mechanisms to cope with different things. Like a fever is a defense mechanism that helps your immune system fight infections. Coughing gets things out of your lungs and your chest. When people throw up or have nausea or diarrhea, it gets things out of your body. Those are defense mechanisms that our body's trying to take care of itself. So we have the belief that, maybe a migraine would actually be a defense mechanism. And we thought that would relate to head pressure, because in a migraine, the blood vessels in your neck open up, the arteries open up, and it allows the brain to be pressurized. And this happens in the morning, right after you've been down all night sleeping. And the effect is to basically get new blood into your head, because the only way overnight, when your head is down and congested and getting pressure, one of the biggest problems is the circulation is really bad. Unless you have a slight incline to allow a gravity-assisted flow, what ends up happening is the brain just gets pressurized. The flow is very sluggish through the brain if you're too low. And then it uses up its oxygen and sugar, and the brain needs both of those dearly. So in the middle of the night, parts of your brain are getting too much pressure, using up the sugar and oxygen, and suffering. And as a result, you can start getting brain dysfunction, like your breathing systems can start having problems, and you can get sleep apnea or sudden infant death syndrome. It's all related to pressure inside the respiratory center of your brain, which is the brainstem between your ears. So they already know that there's increased pressure in the brain in many, many conditions. But they don't study why. They don't wonder why is there increased pressure. Except space medicine knows the increased pressure issue because they study zero gravity issues, and they know that in zero gravity, the blood shifts to the head because gravity isn't assisting drainage. And they simulate that on Earth to study the negative effects of that by having people lie down flat. And what they find is blood goes to the head, the astronauts get migraines, they get eye pressure, ear pressure, sinus pressure. So your whole head gets congested with fluid in zero gravity, which is the same as lying flat. So we thought if a migraine could be a way to deal with all of this by flushing the brain and forcing blood through under pressure, because you have a starving brain by the morning. It's congested and low in nutrients, and the only way it's going to get fresh blood is by pumping it through. So a migraine is like an emergency brain flush. And research shows that people who get migraines actually are it's protective against other brain problems like Alzheimer's and some other conditions that are a product actually of increased brain pressure. So migraines are a way of coping with that pressure. So we had people raise their beds and at about a 20 to 30 degree head of bed elevation. So your head is up, and their migraines went away. Within about it acts very fast. What ends up happening is by the next morning, most people, if you're not a migraineur, then in the morning you'll feel less congested because when your head's getting pressurized, your sinuses, your gums, your eyes, your inner ear, middle ear, everything in your head, your brain is all getting too much fluid. And it's because it's being pressurized and it's not draining properly. So you're getting like edema, in a mild case of swelling in the whole face. And that's why people wake up with puffy eyes, puffy sinuses, and they have the highest eye pressure in the morning. That's been tested. So this is how to prevent and treat glaucoma, and people have successfully done it with head of bed elevation. And they know a lot of this. They know a lot of this, Christie, because that's why hospitals have adjustable beds. They know that after brain surgery or head trauma or neck surgery, even to breathe better, it's better to have the head of bed elevated. And actually, it's called the Fowler's position, to have it 60 degree head of bed elevation, and a semi-Fowler's is 30 degree. And they use these to treat hiatal hernias when the esophagus that goes into the stomach through the diaphragm. Sometimes that herniates through the hole in the diaphragm, and people will get hiatal hernia or they'll get acid reflux because they're too flat. And, imagine lying flat with your stomach pressing down on it's going to want to come out your mouth again, especially obese people. They actually it's been known that obese people get increased brain pressure and eye pressure, and sometimes can even go blind because of the pressure of their abdomen on the blood supply of the descending aorta going down. The heart pumps it up to the head and down to the rest of the body. And if you have a big weight pushing on the aorta descending, then it pushes the blood up. So you actually get more pressure going up. It's like squeezing a balloon, You squeeze it at one, it goes out the other side. Our body is full of blood vessels with fluid in them, and when we squeeze on one part of the body, we squeeze the fluid out of there, and it goes somewhere else. And if you have pressure on your abdomen, sitting down increases your brain pressure too. And turning your head to the side increases brain pressure because the jugular veins going down from the head down in your neck, get compressed by the muscles when you turn your head. So it actually increases brain pressure because the blood is delivered under pressure in the arteries at much higher pressure than it comes down in the veins. So if you have a constriction around your neck, a necktie, or wearing anything tight, or turning your head to the side, or sleeping on your belly and turning your neck to the side, or having a neck injury, tight neck muscles, all of those things interfere with the drainage of blood from the head. And it results in increased pressure in everything above your neck. And so this we tested, as I said, on like 100 migraineurs. And this is in our book, Get It Up. Our study is described in that book. And the reasoning behind it and its connection to all sorts of other diseases that are associated with increased brain pressure. And the list goes on and on and on. It's so many conditions caused by sleeping too flat. And the reason we sleep flat is because our culture has taught us to think that that's normal. Even when you see adjustable beds being sold, they'll show you people sitting in the adjustable bed upright to watch TV or eat, but they'll be sleeping flat on their side in fetal position. That's like the cultural position in our culture. And in other cultures, of course, people will be in a hammock and their head will be up. And you need to, so anyway, do you have any comments so far? Because I don't know if we need to go to a break now that I went to all of that medicine, trying to explain the impact of gravity on brain circulation.
Yeah, no, you've done a fantastic job. I'm totally blown away, and even more blown away that we never hear about these things in the mainstream. Many of my friends, are suffering sleep apnea, migraines, all of these issues, and they go to doctors, and nobody's ever told them this. They just offer them more drugs.
Well, they already know that sleep apnea is improved by head of bed elevation. It also gets rid of snoring, because the snoring is an angled position with your head. I'm going ahead of my story because I need to explain also the position you need to be in bed. You need to be on your back, but if you lie on your back flat, it's extremely uncomfortable. So the best way to lie on your back is to be elevated, and then it's extremely comfortable. Like if you were in a lazy boy recliner or something like that. And, I'm only saying lazy boy like Frigidaire, it's just the concept of the type of furniture. I'm not promoting lazy boy. But The thing is, when you're in one of those recliners and you're sitting back and your legs are up so that they can drain excess fluid from standing all day, because gravity pulls the fluid down there, and the head is up, so your butt is the lowest point. The head is up and the feet are up. So you know what it looks like to be in a recliner like that. That's the ideal position. That's also the position astronauts are in. And it allows, now everybody's going to need a little bit different elevation, but the reason you want to be on your back is if you lie on your side or on your belly, you're going to create compression problems. Imagine lying on your belly, first of all, on a flat bed. You imagine all the food in your stomach, and you're leaning on your stomach. Usually people's stomachs protrude. So when you're leaning on the stomach, that's a lot of pressure on all this food, and it's going to cause reflux. And that acid is going to come up your esophagus, and it can start causing tooth decay and hurt your throat.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
Welcome to the world's meeting place. American.
It's practically narcotics.
Freedom.
Oh, yes. I like it very much.
Radio.
They're an American institution.
American American Freedom Radio.
Welcome back. Thanks again for joining us here tonight. Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. We are talking about sleeping habits. Right now, you can learn all about it in depth in their book, Get It Up. You can find it at killerculture.com. And I'm totally blown away, Sydney and Soma. I'm reading the comments in the chat here, and just there's 3 different people that have said that they had the same thing that you described in the last segment, where they got up to, go potty in the middle of the night and ended up passing out. Ambulance rides later. Another gentleman had a stroke in his sleep, who's been going back and forth to the doctor for sleep apnea. Other people complaining about the snoring issues. And I'm just so blown away, all of this pain that people are going through that can literally be stopped with just one little teeny tiny quick fix.
It really is amazing. And, as long as you don't have any permanent neck issues where you have like a really tight neck, then if you raise your bed, which you should do anyway, it won't have as big an effect, because if you've got a tight neck, it is going to prevent proper brain circulation anyway.
Yes.
So I think everyone needs to do a neck massage and make sure you get your neck properly adjusted and keep it adjusted. People should know how to pop their own necks, in my opinion. We do, but to me, that's like normal personal maintenance of your body, is being able to pop your own joints and make sure you're massaged. But if you had a neck injury from an automobile accident or something, and you're really tight in the neck, those tight muscles compress on the veins draining the head and will increase your brain pressure. I mean, they've even shown that wearing a necktie increases brain pressure. So it's subtle pressure on the neck. But what I was talking about before the break, Christie, was different positions, like what side sleeping or whatever. So if you were to lie on your right side and lean on it, have you ever slept in a way that when you wake up, your limb is like completely numb and dead?
I have, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we all have, and that's because of compression. So when you're leaning on your limb, you cut off the circulation, and you're pressing on the nerve, and enough of that over time causes it to go dead, and it has to get revived as you take, it could be painful even, and the tingling, it's incredible, because you've cut off the circulation. So that's not good. If you do that over and over every day for years upon years in your life, you'd imagine you're going to start getting some nerve issues and some circulatory issues in the thing you're leaning on. And that's what happens. So if you lean on your right side also, that's the side where your appendix is. I'd love to do a study to see if people with appendicitis are right side sleepers. If you're on your left side, you're leaning on your heart, and some people find that uncomfortable. And you're also leaning on a different part of your colon, so that might be uncomfortable. And again, if you're on your side, you're going to be leaning on an ear, and that's one of the leading causes of if not, I'd say 90% or more of childhood ear infections are caused by sleep position, because the kids are leaning on their ear and you're putting pressure on it. Once you sleep on your back and you don't put it, if you look at the back, it's all smooth, right? There's nothing to cut off the circulation like a limb. You're not leaning on a limb. You're not leaning on one of your sensory organs like an ear or your eye, like if you're leaning your face into the pillow. So the back is clearly the least harmful position to be in for leaning. And belly sleeping is the worst because, as I was mentioning, the pressure on the abdomen causes all sorts of reflux issues, but it also makes you put your head to the side. And as soon as you turn your head to the side, it increases brain pressure. And when you're on your belly, you can't even expand your chest properly to breathe. So you're shallow breathing. You're closing off one nostril with the pillow because you're leaning your face into it. By the way, this makes your nose bend over time. And when you look at people's faces, the reason they're asymmetric is because of their sleep position usually. I mean, there might be other factors like if they had accidents or if they have some genetic issue, but otherwise we should be pretty much symmetrical. But if people are asymmetrical in their face or even in their breasts, it's because they're leaning on part of their body. So if you're a right side sleeper, you're leaning the right side of your nose into the pillow, which makes it push over to the left side. And over the years, you'll find your nose starting to bend, your nostrils won't be even, and it's if you push your palm of your hand into your face like you're leaning on a pillow, and then just push it to the side, you'll feel how the pillow is smashing your face over. It's pushing it.
It is.
And you're doing that for how many hours every day? So by the time you're in your 40s or 30s, you're going to see people's noses and eyes being smashed. Their skull will actually change shape. The way you sleep, the sleep position affects the skull shape. They know that in kids.
Maybe that's why I have a crooked face.
It could very well be. The same with the ears. Your ears, if your ears are flattened out, then you're usually a side sleeper and you're smashing the ear against the side of your head. If you have more ears that stick out more, it could be because you're leaning your head into the ear, pushing it out to the side. It's all these little habits. And then another one that people do is some people put their hands under their cheek while they're sleeping. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you were to hold your hands.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the side that you push it in on is going to be, you're going to push in your teeth. And it actually will change the shape of your jaw and your teeth. And it'll cause major malalignment issues. So children are getting tooth issues. Also, your gums are getting inflamed. So they're going to be, anytime a tissue is inflamed, it deteriorates. So you don't want to get an entirely puffy brain and head. And that's, so that's why this is so important. These little subtle things.
Wow. I'm totally blown
Yeah.
away. I'm like feeling my jaw, which has like always been out of alignment, but they call it all these other things and offer you drugs or orthodontal surgeries and things like that, but
well, I'm looking at your face. I'm willing to take a guess, looking at your picture on the Skype thing that we're doing. Gee, it's hard to guess your, maybe you sleep on your left side. Is that
yes,
true?
That's the side that I usually fall asleep on, yes.
Yeah, because I can look and you're asymmetric. Your chin is definitely over towards your left. Your whole...
Yeah. They just said, it's because of the stroke, but they didn't tell me. And, yeah, there were other variables as well, certain drugs that, they were telling me I needed to live that could have contributed to that, as well as my eating habits, but never once. All those doctors, all those decades, all those drugs, did they ever say it could have anything to do with my sleeping? But, yeah, definitely left side. The bottom of my left jaw is pushed to the right. And, the excuse was, you had a stroke. You're just stuck looking crooked the rest of your life.
No, that doesn't change your bones. I mean, this is not a muscular issue. You have a actual bone shaping from pressure. You spend a third of the day, if a person spends a third of their day, all of their life, pushing their right side of their face or the left side into a pillow, it's going to mash your face over. This also causes women to have asymmetric breasts. If you're smashed, and this adds insult to injury. You're wearing a bra all day, smashing your breasts that way, constricting them. And then at night, if you take the bra off, and some women never even take it off, but if you do, and then you go and lie on one side, that breast is getting mashed, and it's going to be stretched and squished over. So over the years of sleeping like that, that breast will have worse circulation. If you lactate, it will probably not put out as much milk, and it'll probably just, the kid probably will prefer the other breast. Mm-hmm. And, children have preferences, and it's usually because one works better than the other. And they know, they're sucking on it. So they'll tell, this one's defective, They won't tell you why, though. They don't know that, unless they read my book. But so it actually transforms your body, and it's very important that everybody realize, though, that this is completely a personalized thing, because depending on your particular circulation, like how tight your neck is, your brain circulation, how effective it is inside your brain anyway, based on your genetics, and given your blood pressure, and all of these other types of personal variables, you may need a certain elevation versus another. Now, in the research NASA did on space, on astronauts, they found that a 30-degree head of bed elevation is optimal for both heart and brain circulation. The heart pumps best at a 30-degree elevation versus lying flat. It likes 30 degrees. And you know what's interesting? If you want to check how good your heart is, one thing that a cardiologist will do is they'll put you on a examination table, and then they'll flat, and then they'll raise the head of the table to make an incline, and they'll do that until they see the neck veins in your neck not stick out anymore. Because when you lie down, the blood is no longer, the gravity is gone, right? So it's not falling back to the heart with gravity. It's being sucked back by the pumping of the heart as it sucks and pushes through the whole brain and sucks on the other end. Not a very good, effective pumping that way. So if you're lying, you'll find that if you're lying flat down, the veins in the neck will swell. They'll pump out, and you'll see people's neck veins sticking out. If neck veins are sticking out, you got brain pressure building up because it's not draining. So if you're wearing anything too tight, like a necktie, and you got to tighten that top collar, and you see your neck veins sticking out, you know it's too tight. And the thing is, the doctor will raise the bed until those veins don't stick out anymore, and that means it's flowing now to the heart effectively. Now, if you have heart failure, where you do not have an effective pump in your heart anymore, it's less effective, then what will happen is you got to raise the bed very high relative to somebody who has a better heart. So the degree of elevation is reflected in your heart as well as your brain circulation. It's a lot of issues. So some people may like 30 degrees. Some people may like 20. Sometimes of the night you might like 30 in the beginning of the night when you go to sleep because your pressure is higher. And then as your pressure drops down, you might like to lower your bed a little bit more and make it adjustable. So adjustable beds are a useful thing. Actually, after the next break, is that break coming up? Because the next segment,
it's coming up in a minute, and it's last segment. So
so I want to talk about.
Is there a cure for my crooked face? I mean, should I start sleeping on the right side to balance it out, or what do I do?
Well, then you'll end up if you sleep on the right side to balance it, you'll end up having a really pointy ridge in the middle of your face. You don't want to smash both sides together. Yeah, I think it's too late, Christie. You look the way you look.
Yay.
Your boobs,
all right.
Your boobs sag and your face is crooked, but I love you anyway.
Hi, my name is Christie. My boobs sag and I got a crooked face. That's great. Oh, well, hey, what would I be without my crooked face, right?
Hey, this also affects men, though. If men lie down flat on their bellies, they have to put their penis somewhere. And if they stick it to the right or the left, will make them a righty or lefty and crimp their penis. So by the time they get older, you don't want to, crimp a hose. Over the years, it'll make it difficult to urinate. So men have that issue too. I mean, you ever wonder why maybe you have...
I have wondered.
Well, now you know. It's the secret is they're sleeping on it wrong. They shouldn't be belly sleepers. If they were back sleepers, then it would just go straight. Flaccid or whatever, but it wouldn't have to go to one side or the other. The sidedness is really because of chronic compression from sleeping.
Wow. That is amazing. All right, boys, watch your willies. My new nickname, I thank you, Sylvia in the chat room. I have a Klingon face. Woohoo! Hey, at least we have something for you to make fun of. I mean, especially those Canadians. But, wow. We're going to have to do another show, touching on all of these issues and what we can do to, I don't know, maybe there is no cure for my crooked face. That's all right. It's all good. Maybe we can prevent our children and, younger people.
Got to start early. And what we'll talk about when we come back is how you raise your bed, different ways of doing this, different ways of sleeping, that you can try this tonight. And actually, you'll feel the difference like in the morning. It's that intense. Most people feel not congested, and they'll feel more awake, more alert. They'll be able to jump out of bed quicker. They might even sleep less as they do this more and more. They'll realize I don't have to sleep so much. I'm not groggy in the morning. and then it stopped the migraines. Maybe I never finished my story, but we tested this on 100 people, and about 70% of them had improvement. About a large percentage of them totally lost their migraines, and these were chronic migraineurs for 30 years. That nothing is working, they're taking drugs, they're in pain. It's incredible. They raise their bed, and it's like, oh my God, I don't believe this. And then they would say, I remember one of the...
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also, check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
News and information you can trust. This is American Freedom Radio. Freedom, American Freedom Radio. American Freedom Radio.
Last segment here tonight, Soul Journeys Radio on AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Our special guests tonight, Sydney Ross Singer and Soma Grismaijer. KillerCulture.com is the website, and I've been posting an excellent article they wrote, Heads Up, the way you are sleeping may be killing you. I've been posting that and many others in the text chat. But again, just go to the website, KillerCulture.com. You can link to all of the articles and his books. Again, $10.95. I know you've spent more on less. So, we're talking about a lot of issues here tonight, and you've brought up, so much. There are a lot of questions in the chat, so I apologize. We're not going to be able to address every single one of them that we had intended on here tonight, given the time, but I promise you all, we will continue this in our next show together. In the meantime, I don't know, raise your beds, get a wedge, get a little block of wood, whatever it takes. But I found out during the break that Soma, you have actually, obviously, since you guys are living this and you wrote the books and you're testing it out and doing it yourself, but you were actually able to change the shape of your face. Tell us more, please.
Well, like you, I used to be a side sleeper. I slept on my right side. I would roll up in a little fetal position. I would put my hands together and under my chin and cheek area and sleep that way every night, pretty much flat, maybe one pillow. This was before we did our research into migraines and so forth. Well, I had this very pointy ridge on the top of my head. My whole nose shifted over to the other side, is very crooked. My teeth on that side are very, very crooked from all that pressure. My teeth haven't straightened out, but my head has, really. And I wanted to share with you that experience. From sleeping on my right side for so many years, I used to get headaches on the right side. You know, people sometimes get a headache. It's usually on one side or the other. My headaches were always on the right side. I would get them usually premenstrually when I'm swollen with hormones and more pressure in general. But those headaches were regular things. My right eye is weaker than my left. My tooth decay is more on that side of my face, and I was definitely very crooked in the face, and my head, the ridge on the top of my head, showed that I was a side sleeper. It was very pointy. Well, since we've been sleeping now on our backs for about 10 years, that ridge on the top of my head has gone way down. It's amazing, but my head shape is changing. My jaw isn't as crooked. My nose isn't as crooked. My teeth still are, but I'm not getting the decay I used to. My vision isn't bad in that eye anymore. Not having headaches on that side of my head. I never get headaches anymore. So it's a profound change. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's very fast, but you need to get that head of your bed up a little, and there are lots of ways of doing that. When we did our study, we didn't have access to the foam wedges that you can get from medical supply places, but we would just roll up a blanket or sleeping bag or something and stuff it under the top mattress between the mattress and box spring, and that would sort of elevate the mattress as long as it's flexible enough. Or you can get like a 4x4 block and put it under the feet of the top of your bed and raise it up about 4 to 6 inches that way. I think to start with, a 6-inch elevation is good. That'll bring you up to about a 15-degree elevation. That's a good start. If you do too much too fast, it'll feel a little weird at first and maybe not as comfortable as you could be. But start with that 6-inch elevation, either with a wedge or stick something under the mattress or under the feet of your bed, and just get it up a little. Sometimes if you slip a little or slide down the bed, maybe a pillow or two under your knees and feet will get your feet and knees up, which is important as well. But do that for a while. You will feel the difference, believe me, and your head and jaw and everything will change slowly over time, as mine has, and you'll be relieved of all of these problems. I think also, Sid, you wanted to mention how strokes, all these issues that happen usually are worse in the morning. Yeah, people die. People die more than any other time at 4 in the morning. That's the time that people die. That's the time when people have strokes. When people wake up in the morning is when they have migraines and asthma attacks. And I wanted to share with you one story that was absolutely, completely amazing. We had an office in town, and next door was a woman who had a 6-year-old daughter who was having all kinds of health problems. She was constantly at the doctor. She had ADHD. She had sleep problems, headaches constantly. They thought she had diabetes. They were testing her. They even did some CAT scans. They thought she had brain tumor. They didn't know what it was. And she was on at least 4 or 5 different drugs. She just was having a horrible, horrible time. And this is when we were doing this research, and we suggested, they said, she always falls asleep at night in a recliner watching TV, and then we'll pick her up and put her in bed. Mm-hmm. And then she wouldn't want to wake up in the morning. She'd be groggy and just disoriented and uncomfortable and headachy and so forth. And then we said, well, try just leaving her in the recliner and let her sleep that way. Just put a blanket over her and let her sleep in the recliner. Well, do you know, the very next morning, this child woke up alert, got up out of bed, normal, no headache, no asthma attack. Within a week or two, she was off of all of her medications and a completely different child. It was totally amazing and so wonderful to hear that just something so simple as that, just so simple. And most people can't believe it because it is so simple. They expect everything to be very complex and all these medical issues that, you know, all the drugs and the surgeries and they just get very confused and overwhelmed by it all. But, you know, truth is simple, and this is one of the most simple of all.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. And, you know, we did get a comment in the text chat about one of the listeners who said that when he slept on his right side is when he had his stroke, and it was, you know, early morning hours, like you said as well. And then you just touched on the asthma, which is something that I grew up with, and I swear to you, not a night passed in my, you know, preteen, teenage years where I was not woken up with an attack that, you know, I either had to be pumped with tons of drugs and inhalers or emergency room visits minimum once a week.
Well, I wanted to say something about that. You know, the asthma not only relates, this shows, you know, it's the part of your brain that's related to this is your respiratory center, which is between your ears and it's in your brainstem. And it's when this center gets congested that because it's like the lowest part of your brain. When you're lying down, it's not like, you know, your forehead. It's near the back of your head, so it's really flat, and it gets pressurized. So the different dysfunctions that'll happen to your respiratory centers could include sleep apnea, which they've shown can be improved, gotten rid of by raising the bed. And asthma, again, that's a respiratory issue. And sudden infant death syndrome, another respiratory issue. So the respiration is very much affected by head pressure. But the other thing about asthma is that when people are sleeping in a bed, one of the things we didn't talk about is what are you sleeping on, like the material, and what has it been laundered with? Because I remember, sometimes when you travel, you go to a hotel or something where I don't know if they do this anymore, I haven't traveled that much lately, but they used to put perfume in the laundry detergent in the hotel, and you'll be sleeping on a pillowcase that smells like some fabric softener, and that drives me crazy. I don't like smelling that all night. It stuffs me up. It's an irritant, and a lot of people, I'm sure, react to the smells of all the detergent, and they're sleeping in that for 8 hours with their noses pressed right to it. So it's like taking clothes right out of your dryer after it's been, with some fabric softener in it, and it's got all this intense fragrance from your detergent and from your fabric softener. And then, take that and just put it to your face and just breathe it for 8 hours. I mean, that's what you're doing when you're sleeping. So you got to consider the environment that you're in addition to your head elevation.
It's time to get real and heal. MyTrueEssence.net would like to tell you about Modifiland brown seaweed extract. It's composed of an elementally rich seaweed called laminaria. It takes 40 pounds of laminaria to make just 1 pound of Modifiland. There's nothing else like Modifiland. It is the richest in alginate, fucoidin, organic iodine, and lamarian. Alginates are the most effective organic element in nature that enable the body to rid itself of heavy metals, radioactive elements, and toxins. Fucoidin is an extremely effective anti-cancer substance found abundantly in brown seaweed. Organic iodine is the greatest protection for the thyroid offered by nature. Laminarin aids in the prevention and treatment of cardiovascular disease. Go to www.mytrueessence.net and click the Modifiland banner to get started on your path to rich health today. Also check out the Healing Shop for proven essential oils, medicinal teas, and even health coaching. It's time to get real and heal. Go to www.mytrueessence.net.
Get real and heal. Listen to Christie on Soul Journeys Radio.
You're listening to the future of talk. American Freedom Radio. This is American Freedom Radio.